Welcome to PB and J's, the Convention Creatives, the podcast where we dive into all things conventions and its creative community.
I am PB, the Plaid Bear, navigating running my very own small business as an independent artist in the UK convention scene.
And I'm Jay, aka Eggman, aka Sonic Cage Dome, and I am the congoer turned podcast editor and social media wrangler. Together, we're here to share stories, tips, and maybe a whole lot of laughs.
This episode is packed. We are talking about the excitement of the podcast launch, preparing for MegaCon London, and taxes. Yes, taxes. Buckle up, conventioneers. We've got ourselves a wild one. This is such a mess.
Yes, we're back. It's the third episode. We've made it. It's our second week. We're doing it.
We are doing it.
We're doing it. I can't believe it. It was a wild launch. It was absolutely crazy. I am so overwhelmed by the response from all of you who listened, left reviews, left comments, voted on polls, engaged with us on social media. Like, melts my heart. Like, I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
Yeah, it has been such a full-on week. There has been feedback from every direction, from every part of the community, from people who aren't even in the community, who just wanted to support us, and they had incredibly good feedback. It has been a whirlwind in the best possible way.
Absolutely, and like, I've shared it on social media, but I actually understand there's a lot of people listening now who aren't even following us, which is something you need to fix. The con creatives everywhere. But if you haven't been following my continuous posts about it, we charted in our debut week. We charted. That didn't happen. We charted like crazy. We charted in the leisure chart, which is crazy. Get an understanding, leisure includes like video games, automotives, like every leisure activity you could possibly think of. So many subcategories. We charted in the around, I think it was last place was like 60 something, 67. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's insane. And then
Good.
I thought that was good. I thought, wow, that's great. Our specific podcast category we have been categorized in is hobbies. And there are roughly 58,000 podcasts in the world that have registered on the directory as a hobby podcast. So where have we charted this week? We have charted at number 6. Was that a top 10 podcast? Yes, it is, yes. Yes, it is. Yes, you know when you do it, it's crazy. And there are podcasts that I am familiar with that we have charted higher than, and we've now charted. And this is on Apple Podcasts, to clarify. And we've charted in other countries as well. We've just charted in Canada. Thank you to my Canadian friends. We have charted in New Zealand. Shout out to all the New Zealand people who want to hear about the UK convention scene. Shout out to you guys. And
Why not? Why not?
Exactly. But, and this is news as of the day of recording, we have for the first time entered the Spotify podcast chart. Now, it is way harder to chart there because there's only a top 50. They don't do a top 200 like Apple. So if you don't make the top 50, you don't get in. And it's a lot harder to chart on there because Spotify is so overwhelmed by big brand podcasts, paid for by Spotify usually. And we have charted. We're now in those charts. We are in the top 40, which is crazy. We are above like the official PlayStation podcast. There's a Markiplier podcast and he has like a bazillion subscribers. We have charted higher than him. It is very humbling to know how on board people were and how interested people are to listen to this subject.
It is funny to me that we have charted based on 2 introductory episodes where we barely spoke about what we actually want to talk about, let alone once we get into the nitty-gritty of talking about conventions, a bit of convention goss and spilling some tea, talking about small business products and all the things that we want to be talking about throughout the year. It is mind-boggling. And I can hold a pencil and draw, but I am not very technical, as you know. And I vicariously appreciate this through your enthusiasm, though I can understand being top 10 on Apple is pretty good.
It's really like there are numerous people who may have tried to launch a podcast and sometimes it doesn't work, and that's perfectly fine, like these things. So for it to instantly reach the heights it has, it's just really, really comforting and just really validating that this was a good decision and that people like it. Because again, we debuted at like further down the chart, and I was chuffed. So, and then usually you release an episode, it comes out, that's when you get your initial burst of downloads, and then it tapers off. Very standard. But this one, just throughout the week, it's just been slowly
Going further and further up. Yes. Yes.
So I'm very
And
excited.
also the feedback that we've got through DMs and through comments, but more so in DMs, was so heartwarming and so motivating that more or less every evening I kept telling you that I want to record more episodes. Can we do this daily?
Literally, so we did like I said, we did a 2 episode premiere, and the second episode, as it being a video one, much like this one, we did a live premiere of it on YouTube, and it was just wonderful to interact with people listening it live with us and react to conversations in real time. Something I definitely want to do again. But then the fact that we've literally finished the second episode, and you turned around to me and basically said, "I want episode 3 now."
Yes.
Now.
Which is strange to me because even after years of doing TikTok and Reels, I could never quite appreciate listening to myself talk. Like, I would obviously edit out any bits that I didn't want in, but once that edit is done, I would never watch back because I don't want to hear myself talk. But it was so well put together, and the community has been so uplifting about what we said. That yeah, I had a great time watching our content and not cringing.
I
Was a very good experience.
Yes, and I will say that we have so many topics already in our head, like physically don't have enough days in the year to cover everything we want to talk about. And we've planned like weeks worth of episodes. We want to share the experience from like my perspective as well as someone who is more of a convention goer than a convention trader. So I'm just really excited for you guys to see what's going to come in the future.
Yes, I've also already started approaching guests to see who is interested. More so like the first few people that when we were talking about doing interviews, who I
Yeah.
instantly thought about. I reached out to those people and I can say that everyone said yes so far. And we have confirmed the first guest filming as well, which is very exciting. We'll leave it at that.
It's going to be good. It's going to be very good. So,
Yeah.
enough congratulating ourselves, I think.
Yes.
As much as it is deserved, and we are awesome. So yes, pat on the back. Pat on the back for ourselves.
Yeah.
But we're here to talk about something else. So I think we should dive straight into it because it's going to be a big one, I reckon.
Yes.
Yes. For those of you who aren't aware, and I'm sure you are aware if you follow this podcast, but MegaCon London is taking place at the Excel Centre January 25th to the 26th, which is, at the time of airing, literally the following weekend.
Yes.
So, I'm going to start my perspective, purely because I feel like this one's going to be quite easy to cover. I'm very excited. It's my first time going to a proper big convention. Legitimately. Like, I think the largest scale I've been to is Summer of Sonic, Sonicon. Like, that's my scale of convention. So this is a whole nother level for me. So I'm very excited, and you are going to be hearing all about how overwhelmed I feel about the whole experience. It's going to be very good. Yourself, on the other hand, it's a very different experience. It is very different.
I would say on the scale of how big and busy MegaCon is. Last year it was interesting because it coincided with having DragCon in the same venue at the same time. So there was a massive amount of people in the halls of the Excel. This time it's its own venture, and I'm just excited to see how it improved after its first year.
Yeah. And it comes at a very peculiar time as well,
Mm-hmm.
because not only are you prepping for your first big con of the
Yeah.
calendar year, it's also a wonderful time. Whereas, as an independent business, as someone who trades, you get to do your taxes at the same
So much fun.
time.
So much fun.
Yay!
So much fun. It is worse for me where I know I should be doing them once a month to catalog everything, save all those receipts, write everything down at the end of each month, and then this month would be easy. It would be like 10 minutes of going through this and that and prepare my spreadsheet for the accountant. But no, we don't do that. We don't do that. We wait for the last possible minute, and then we need to dig up all the receipts, need to check all the takings, all the things, and spend a week of crying inside because that's when you actually see what your business did throughout the year, how good or bad it was for the previous year.
How does that feel then? Because basically, yeah, you are prepping for the start of a new year, but
Hmm.
also actually having a proper, realistic look at how the previous went. Does that
Yes.
does that affect like your approach, your thinking in terms of like going into the new year?
It definitely puts certain things into perspective. For me, I always tackle them from January to January because in my brain, in my ADHD brain, that is how the calendar makes sense. You will not tell me otherwise, even though the financial calendar year is not like so. However, in this iteration, we would have tackled what money went in and out between April of 2023 till April of 2024. And it showed me that during that time, things were not as bad as I was feeling they were in the moment. But then looking at the rest of that time, it on a whole scale, the beginning of 2024 was actually so bad. So bad. But we recovered. Like we said in the last episode, since September, I cracked the code. I got back into the swing of things. It wasn't as much as there are no sales, but maybe it was because I was banking on the wrong thing. And now I'm banking on the right thing, and things are
Yeah.
better.
So you would say that I guess that is a room for like almost like a lessons learned thing because you can see like, oh, I
Yes,
spent money on this that clearly did not bring back the
yes,
investment I thought it did. So
yes.
I can physically see on paper like,
Exactly.
don't do that again.
And as you said, looking back and seeing numbers on paper, I can see, for example, at some point I spent too much on stickers. Stickers aren't giving me the return that I was looking for, so maybe in the coming year, note to self, not many stickers, if any, produced.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing, where, for example, with t-shirts, I can see that t-shirts are the kind of thing that no matter how much I spend, I always get that return so many times over.
Yeah.
So it just helps me, focus more on what is good, hold back on what is bad. But it is a very, very important exercise.
So I imagine there's going to be many artists listening along, thinking of doing taxes and stuff, or maybe they're just starting out and something they're having to think about in the future. Where do you even begin? How does declaring income and where do we start? What's a good starting point?
So the way I do it, and the only thing that I can share because I am not an accountant, is the method that I use. I write everything down in an Excel sheet. We have the dates of when a situation happened, regardless of whether it is takings, spending, paying for a hotel, what have you, right? In another column, you explain what the thing is. For example, paid my t-shirt factory for an order, or paid for a hotel, or paid for a table at a con, so on and so forth. And finally, you have different columns where you have either takings, things, money that you brought in, or cost of goods, travel costs, so on and so forth. Then you give that beautiful, beautiful spreadsheet to an accountant and they send it off and you are told more or less how much tax you're going to be paying based on whatever tax bracket you fall under, right? Now, the reason why this is specifically important, right, is because firstly, I think everyone should be paying their taxes. Secondly, if any point down the line you would like to have a mortgage, to get a house, or get a loan to get a car, etc., etc., you need to show that you pay taxes. So this is an important thing for your everyday life, right? It's not something that is avoided lightly. There's jail and fees involved if you don't, so at your own discretion. But it also helps you understand that you're on the right track when you are at an event and you've taken X amount of money, right? From that X amount of money, you need to deduct the cost of your product, you need to deduct what you spent on hotels, what you spent on travel to get there, but also you need to deduct how much money you're going to give back from that to pay in tax. So that is another element that you need to be aware of, because if you don't consider that, right? And let's say that you made £1,000 at an event and it cost about £800 to be there in table, hotel, and travel, right? But your tax bracket is 20%. That would mean that for that weekend, you made nothing,
Yeah.
absolutely nothing, because 20% of 1,000 is 200, and that 200 profit that you think oh, I made money, you actually made no money. So it is definitely something that needs to be considered, especially when you're taking your business seriously. You're trying to grow beyond the hobbyist, so to speak, and making it your full-time work. And you're declaring everything as you should.
I think, yeah, because it's an important part of, even I understand that. It's so important to get these things
Yes.
right. And another thing I would say is, we've discussed this in previous episodes, do go listen, they're very good, that there's an importance of understanding that we are all very skilled at different things, and it's no shame in appreciating that sometimes there are things we're not good at, and that's where we rely on people around us who can provide those skills. And
Exactly.
for example, I can't think of a more important time to do that when it comes to like filing taxes and making sure it's correct and above board and you're paying what you should be paying. You have someone who helps you with that,
I do.
who is also part of the convention world.
Yes, exactly. People who come to conventions are very used to seeing me with Paul, who is a very close personal friend, and he runs the Pick a Plushie stand next to me, the Crane Machine plush toy one, in case you're confused. And he is a certified accountant. And he has done my taxes as a small business, self-employed person for the last 6 years. And if anyone within our circle in the UK would like any assistance, he has helped not just myself, but quite a few other people and other events as well so far, and he's very focused when it comes to that. He knows his stuff, and he is definitely someone I greatly rely on to make sure I'm on the right track.
And when it comes to stuff as important as this, because if you get this stuff wrong, it can badly affect you if you don't
Yes,
get this stuff right. So we are so grateful for people like that, and yeah, it's good to have a pool that can do
very good
that.
to have a pool. Very good. When it comes to admin of that level, a poll is a must.
When you do all your taxes
Yes.
and it's all done, and you're like, woohoo, file it off.
Woohoo! Woohoo! Now I need to pay it for the rest of the year.
Yes.
Done.
Um,
Fun.
then you can get right into prepping for the next big con, the first big con. And I have to do my own prep as well, in the sense that
Mm-hmm.
more emotional prep, because it's the first time appearing at a major convention with Sonic Cage Dome.
How do you feel about that?
It's going to be interesting because, like, again, I've been to unsurprisingly Sonic themed conventions where I've sort of been part of the crew, or like I've been lurking around with a purpose, so I can just do that. Whereas this one feels a bit different because I'm like saying out to the world, like, if you're interested in Sonic Cage Dome, we'll be there, and if you like Sonic, you should definitely speak to us. It's also interesting because I'm going there to support yourself, if for moral support more than anything. And I am there to promote and represent this wonderful top 10 podcast, which I am always going to say if anyone asks about the podcast. So, and as well as Sonic H-Dome. So there's going to be people potentially who I'm going to be speaking to and interacting with and just doing things around the con, repping all these different things. It's going to be very interesting. I'm very curious.
Yes, and even though you will be at our booth for the weekend, I do plan on giving you ample time to actually walk around and experience the convention as a congoer properly. So you will have that experience to talk about. I hope you're ready to take a lot of videos and a lot of photos to remember what you're watching and what you're seeing, so you can come and talk to our conventioners about it, because not everyone is going to be able to go to London
Yeah.
and see MegaCon in person. And my hope when we do the recap videos of these conventions is to bring a little bit of that convention back for those who watch and those who maybe other artists who just want to see what was at that one event that they missed out on, or
Yes.
the one that they couldn't attend.
Yeah.
You know, you've got your work cut out for you.
I'm gonna be busy. I'm gonna be busy. So if you see me around and you do listen to this podcast or watch it, hopefully, so you know what I look like. If you do notice me, please come along and basically give me all the emotional support I need. And if there's anything I need to check out that you think I haven't, that you need to tell. Here, hello, convention noob. Go look at that.
Go look at that, convention noob.
Yeah.
I will make sure to keep these words
noob.
Specifically in mind. Be like, convention noob. Look over there.
Yeah. Okay. Again, just to clarify to our wonderful listeners and viewers, come up and say that to me. Don't point from across the room. Convention noob. I can't think of anything worse that would happen to me. Well, you know.
It's a convention. You'd be surprised what happens. But
I've heard some wild
overall,
tales.
it's all wholesome.
So yeah, so it'd be interesting gearing, because most of my prep for the convention, in terms of my side of things, is one from Sonic H-Dome, just more about social media promotion, getting people awareness out there that the Sonic H-Dome will be there, for the Sonic people out there who may be interested to know there's a fellow Sonic influencer in the wild. And then for this wonderful podcast, it's more about planning, again, socials to a degree, but also planning what content do I want to do while I'm there? What do I want to check out? What do I want to film? How do I want to film it? Because there's so many different ways that I could approach doing things. So making a clear mind, having a vague idea of what I want to do. So I don't just walk in, because I will go there and there will be things I had not thought about, and I will have to think what to do on the spot. But at least going with some sort of prep in mind can potentially it makes you feel less inundated by like, what do I do? There's so much going on. Yeah. I think it's going to be good. It's going to be fun. And I'm just really excited. I think it's going to be a really good experience. And also my first chance to meet a lot of the people that are in this circle, that, you know, these people that have been so lovingly contacting us and reaching out and supporting the podcast. This has been my first chance to be my inaugural hello to a lot of these people, so I'm very excited.
Yes, I will be introducing you to many, many, many people. And my convention family. You'll actually get to meet a lot of them. You've heard about my con family long enough. Now it's time for you to meet them.
And I welcome you all with warm arms, as I'm sure you do to me. And I will not be offended if you just refer to me as convention noob. But my name is Jay, so just remember that. If you forget, though, convention noob's fine too. So I feel I'm going to be ready for this convention with the light work I have to do. You, on the other hand, could have a lot to do and lots of things to consider, lots of things to prepare for. And I think it's going to take a little bit longer to discuss than my part. So I reckon we take a quick break and then we dive right in to what an artist will have to do for a convention.
Can I have a nap while we're on break? Okay.
Stay awake, boy. And we're back.
I'm awake.
You're doing very well, considering we are in this time of major con prep, major stuff going on, and like you said,
Crazy.
it's not only just prepping for a big con; it's prepping for the first big con of the year. So, new year means new stuff as well. I've seen it all over social media. Everyone's like, this is for a lot of people that time where they're like, these are some big new lines I've been thinking about doing, and it's a new year, so now's the
Yeah.
time I'm going to launch them. And you yourself have got so much new stuff since the last con.
Yes. I am more or less just sleeping as I go for bursts of like 4 hours, get up and keep working. Between the podcast and the taxes, getting into con prep was a little bit late in the game, but I'm doing my best. That said, there's going to be loads of new t-shirt designs. There's like 3 new Sonic designs, Shadow one and 2 Metal Sonic ones. I did a really cool Dun 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 t-shirt with Okarun that people have been really excited about, especially on Instagram. That is going to be on a t-shirt. And I am also going to be taking with me a selection of sweatshirts. However, I'm only taking one sweatshirt of each size. So once it sells, it's gone, right? So obviously there will be an Okarun one, but it will be only in size medium, large, XL to X. Once those sell out, it's gone. So
So if you
get to
want
that
it,
booth
don't
if you
hesitate.
want it.
If
Yeah,
you want it, it might not be there when you look again, so you need to get
exactly. There's no, I'm going to have a little walk around and come back
it.
later. And then they come back and they're like, what do you mean it's gone? Well, I'm also restocking all the bestseller t-shirts from MCM Birmingham, which were plenty. The Arcane t-shirt is coming back. The Luna and Fizzaroli t-shirts are back. We have Rouge and Fireman Shadow coming back. There's essentially, I'm mostly only going to take hits from the end of the year and new designs when it comes to t-shirts. All of these are going to be on A4 prints as well. But again, minimal selection, minimum quantity rather, because I just learned my lesson and I'm not overstocking anymore. Big boy now. Um, And see the power of taxes. Ta-dun!
See, they're like, no, don't. We're not doing that again.
We're not doing that
We're
again.
not doing the Tesco Christmas thing where we have 600 advent calendars on the 1st of December, all reduced to pennies. Like, no, we
Yeah,
can't. We can't be doing
no,
that.
not again. But yeah, there is going to be quite a lot of new designs at the table, especially if you're into Has-Been, Hello of Boss, Sonic, Arcane. It is the time to come check things out. There are some things that went up in price. New year, new pricing. However, I feel like I made some good bundle deals to balance that out. Because I'm generous. I'm generous like
Yes,
that. I'm very
you're
generous.
too kind to them. You're too
Very
kind to them.
kind. Very kind.
And like I said, you've been designing so much, all these new lines, which I've seen them. I'm so hyped for them. I've already placed my order for some of them because they're so good. Um,
Something to wear at the con.
exactly. And debating, that's a whole nother thing. What do I wear? You'll have to turn up and see. But not only are
Yes.
you designing all these wonderful things for yourself,
Yes.
again, we keep coming back to this. It's about this family of people and these people who inspire us, and we work together, and it helps us do things that we may not have been able to do before without those people. And you have been designing and supporting one of our good friends, Rob, from Printing Like Rabbits, who will
Yes.
also, we will be there right next to him
Yes.
at MegaCon. Yes.
We will be having a 6 by booth with Rob, and Rob expressed the desire to, especially now that he is going into the full scale figures as props, which people are very much encouraged to come and take photos with because he is working extremely hard on them. But with that as a new big step forward, we thought that he could do with a rebrand of his logo, of his business card, of his roll-up banners, his PVC banners,
Yeah.
and literally everything. And I did that for him over the weekend, and we put in the order, and now we're waiting for all this shiny, brand spanking new branding to show up for printing like rabbits. I'm very, very excited. I think it looks cute, but very almost like polished and sophisticated, which really
Uh,
matches the high quality product that he brings to the con. I have to admit, like, as an artist, designing a logo is probably the most daunting thing for me. I feel like logo design is not really something an illustrator usually does.
yeah.
It's, like you have different types of chefs. You also have different types of artists, and it requires a talented graphic designer to do a logo for you. But this one fell more into my wheelhouse, and I'm very, very happy with that. We will maybe add it to your thing, Jamie. Thanks. There you go. Notes taken. For those who can't see it, it's a very cute rabbit. You're welcome. Whoop.
I'm sure our editor will not take the mick out of that at all.
That is future Jamie's prerogative. So.
We love Future Jamie. So we've been doing all this stuff for Printing Like Rabbits. You have worked very hard on your own designs as well, and you've been working on these 4 months. So it's going to be awesome to see them all come together. And because why not add more work to what we do is we thought, I know, time to do taxes. Time for the big con of the year, time for new designs, time to help our wonderful, delightful friend with their stuff as well. I know, let's launch a podcast now as well from scratch. Something we've been thinking about for ages. But I know, let's do it this week and let's do it now. So we're just going to create a whole world of new assets and designs and what's the look and what's the aesthetic. How is it going to all come together? Let's record it. Yep. Let's plan episodes ahead so we can actually have episodes come out while we're at MegaCon. And while we're at MegaCon, we also want to spread the word of the podcast, which means that on top of everything else we've been doing, you've been working on building materials so that we can get the word out.
Yes. In fact, I have designed a informative flyer because I feel that nowadays, even though I absolutely love a good business card and I am very proud of my business cards, I think flyers are the way to actually engage people with your business rather than people taking one to stick on a corkboard somewhere. Though I will say that this flyer still has collectability potential.
Yes. For those who, when you see it, if you're familiar with I love the art of the cover art of this podcast. It is so well put together. It is I genuinely think it's something that you would take. And yes, there's one side of all the info that people need to know. Then the other side, legitimately put it up on the wall with all your other stuff. It's just a good piece of art.
I think so, yes. However, if you would like to support us at the event, I also made a bigger version of this piece on an A4 print. Surprise! And people can come up to us, they can purchase it as they would purchase a regular print from me, and we would happily sign the print as PB&J. The proceeds that we get from selling anything Convention Creatives related is going directly into the Convention Creatives pot in order for us to run the monthly fees that rack up with having a podcast, new equipment, to have a little bit better lighting than whatever we're getting by with right now, and things of that nature. I am doing my best to treat this project separately from my work and not just go crazy and spend all the money. I'm giving it the chance to be its own baby and grow at its full potential on its own. So please consider supporting the podcast in that way. Obviously, there is no obligation. However, another interesting way, hit the microphone there, another interesting way for you to support our podcast at events is I designed a personalized selfie frame that is super fun. It is massive. And if you would like to come to our table and snap a picture with the frame to show your support for the podcast, or you would like to take a picture with either one of us or together, and post it on your social media with the appropriate tags, then that would help us spread the word even more about the podcast. This is the first time I make a personalized selfie frame. I've seen them many times, and I don't know why. It's the thing I'm most excited about this weekend. Never mind the convention, never mind the people, the podcast. I just want to hold this selfie frame and just run around the halls of the Excel and be like, ah!
They are going to be, it's going to be so much fun.
100%. I mean, like we said, I have so much on my plate. Everything we mentioned, everything that Jay mentioned just now, with doing the printing like rabbit stuff, doing taxes, up the Kickstarter. Ooh. We won't talk about that today. I don't know what you're talking about. Setting up the podcast, new products, placing orders, talking to the manufacturers, and setting up proofs and everything. All of this was in the last 14 days. All of it. All of it has been in 14 days, which is more of a boo-boo on me. I should have done better at the end of last year to prepare for this. But no, literally everything. The burnout is real. I am talking to you live from the pits of hell because I'm burnt out. But we keep going.
That's how much we dedicate to the podcast, that we broadcast live from the pits of hell to get this to you.
Yeah.
You are
oh my god,
so
can we have
welcome.
like little flames?
You are 3 episodes in and making a lot of requests already to the editor.
Editor, little frames, please. Frames?
Little frames? You just want little frames?
No. Little flames. Flames.
Okay.
Flaming. Because I'm flaming.
I mean, you said it, right?
Slay. Dead drop. I'm too old. We're not trying that. We're not trying that.
So yeah, the frame. I'm very excited for people to use it. I think it's going to be fun to see cosplayers interact and take stuff. And obviously, with your consent, if you are cosplaying and planning to attend, we want to, and you want to get involved, then we definitely want to get footage of you to put together as a nice little compilation of all the different people who've come by and interacted with the convention creatives. So if you do come along,
Yes.
I'm going to say this in advance, like we appreciate you, so very much so.
He got all shy now. He went into that little trail where the voice was barely audible towards the end because he didn't want to ask you directly. So I will do it. When I started TikTok and started doing convention videos, I would ask anyone that purchased anything from my table who was in cosplay, would you mind giving me like a 3-second clip for a TikTok reel? And it was very much appreciated. People wanted the platform and the audience to see what they have worked on, and now we can knock 2 birds with 1 stone. You get to exhibit your cosplay, and we get to have more content on our channel. That sounded really bad. That sounded advantageous. It is not that. It is actually really sweet. We love your cosplay. Even though I haven't seen it. I am digging. I'm still in hell, okay? I'm digging deeper.
Please let us know in the comments whose approach you think to ask you to take her was better. I'm fascinated.
This is very much our personalities. He's all like, and I'm like, get it done. Let's get it done. Let's go.
Whichever approach you prefer, please take that one, and we would love to see you there. And
Yes.
I think it's going to be not only great to meet all these the different people who watch and listen and stuff, but like the expectations I have for, again, this is a big first for me. The expectations for me are kind of wild because it's going to be, we've discussed already, but it's the idea of like, there are people I already know, people I love to bits who are going to be there and always attend these cons, and I'm going to love to actually finally see them in a space that they just adore. They adore so much. And meeting new people as well. Being introduced, as we said, to the family as a new family member.
Yeah, I think it will be a nice introduction, especially this one. MegaCon is a lot more laid back than any other events. I mean, at least this is what it was like last year. It was the first time that they did a MegaCon London. It was a lot more relaxed. There was plenty of time to socialize and talk to people and talk and interact with other fellow creatives. So I'm hoping this will be a good introductory one for you to join the big leagues without being too anxious and stressed. It's not like going into an MCM London first, right?
Yeah, we're not gonna let Jay drown.
Not in the first one, at least.
Not on the first one. We'll teach him to swim a bit first before we just drop him in the ocean and be like, "Do you know how to swim? Let's find out." I'm really excited to the idea of making these new connections and the people that we'll meet during the convention and the people that we'll meet outside the convention hours as well.
Yes, because we already have a few plans with other artist friends to meet for food and drinks on the Friday and Saturday. So, again, if you do see us socializing at any point and you would like to say hello, feel free. You know, we're pretty laid back people.
Yeah,
We like making friends.
we do. We really do. And I think it's going to be great. Thanks to this podcast, to, people who don't know me will be a bit more familiar with me. People who maybe know you but not as well have gotten to know you a bit better as well.
Mhm.
I think it's so good. I think, again, building these social relationships. I think it's going to be really exciting, and I'm just excited to go to this con and be able to represent this project that I'm genuinely so proud of and adore. And I can't wait to tell people why it's so good and why I think they'll like it. Because I genuinely
Mhm.
think there'll be people who might be listening to this now who are going back for episodes because they found out about us at MegaCon. And if that's you, thank you. We love you. Thank you for listening.
Yes, I think it is going to be a very, very exciting weekend. We have so much new everything to contend with. We have my new stock, which is usually that would be the start and it really, right? Me
Well,
presenting new stock.
I was going to say, because again, yeah, you're right. Because obviously, going to a convention as a trader is something you're quite used to. But this is,
Yeah.
I guess this is, I'm assuming this is the first time you're going to a convention to actually bring like a media product, like an actual thing
Yeah.
that exists and is out there and is a real life. Like, this isn't an idea. This is a thing that exists and people can download and listen to.
Yes.
It's a whole different kettle of fish. So new experiences for everyone this year.
Yes, I am hoping that what we invested into it financially obviously still is covered and comes back to us, mostly because there's so many events that I've signed up to now last minute just to be able to take the convention creatives at different parts of the country. And those tables need paying. So we need the money to be
Yeah.
able to pay for those tables.
I was going to say, because obviously we have like all our the hopes and things we'd like to happen, but then obviously at the end of the day, this is a business. This is business,
Yeah.
and we start the episode talking about taxes, so it's very much a business. So,
Yeah.
what do you think are like more realistic views of like how could this con go? Because again, it's start of the new year, it's coming out
Hmm.
of Christmas,
Hmm.
it's a believe it's a week before payday for a lot of people potentially. I guess, like you said, you did this last year, so I'd be curious. What are your expectations as a business for this one?
So I will say that last year was a little bit difficult for me too. Last year was strange. You see, we kept noticing that even though the event itself was fairly busy, the way that the rows were made, where some of them were diagonal this way, some of them were that way, and we ended up kind of like packed in between certain rows. And there was not many people coming into our aisle, even though we were at the very, very center of the hall. And yeah, I was a lot more mindful on what to spend going
Yes.
into this event. Um, Even the t-shirt orders that I made them with intent, knowing that I am going to be using that stock for the second and third convention of the year,
Yes.
rather than be like, oh, I haven't designed anything new and I'm going to design something for the other cons.
Mm.
Let me just push all this and hope for the best that it sells in
Yeah.
this first convention. I was a lot more strategic going into this one. So our cost will be recovered sooner than it was last year, and that is giving me hope that even if we match the same amount that I did last year, we would come off a lot better, if that makes sense, right? Like there would be a higher profit margin, even though the takings would be the same.
Sounds like you thought through the business, your expectations, the things you're looking forward to, the
Yes.
plans, and also focusing more long term in terms of what the rest of the year looks like rather than just solely on the next event. And
Yes. In this case, yes.
yeah, I think it's going to be super good. So I guess the only thing we need to do now is physically get prepared and get everything ready to take
Yep.
there. So,
Because we literally have nothing boxed yet.
yeah.
Nothing.
So we're going to take a break, and I'm sure by the time the break's over, we'll have done it. It's fine.
Done.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yes. And we're back. Here we go. The closing segment, which is always the craziest segment so far. That's proven to be the case. And we're doing another favourite part of mine, which is we do fandoms. It's literally in the full title of this podcast. Part of our podcast is we talk about fandoms. So we are the kind of people who will hyperfixate on stuff. It is true. And
Yes,
what we like to do
100%.
is discuss what our current hyperfixations are. I will say thank you to the person, I forget your name, I do apologise, but the person who commented on Spotify, which if you're listening on Spotify right now, you can go, if you watch listening on your phone, you can go and comment on the episode. So go do that. But thank you to the person for the last episode who very much validated my love for Smosh. You were very much appreciated. I feel very seen, so thank you ever so much. But we're going to talk about what our hyperfixations are for this week. And I was wondering if I can go first.
Yes, please.
Okay, first. So, for those of you who may not be aware, I collect stuff. I like to collect things, and you would never guess what the general theme of the stuff is that I collect. However, at the moment, currently, I'm trying to collect the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 Happy Meal toys, and it's my hyperfixation, not for the reason you might expect. You might think, oh, it's hyperfixation because you love collecting Sonic stuff. It's my hyperfixation because all I can collect is fucking Knuckles. When I tell you how many Knuckles I have, right, it is literally insane. Like, it just never ends. It just keeps going and going. It's just so many. So, so my hyperfixation is trying to find one that isn't Knuckles. I don't know if Bristol has a problem right now where I live, where this is the only one they want. I went through a phase of trying to collect them when they first came out, and they were in generic Happy Meal boxes, and again, always Knuckles. Really rude. Today, I ordered 3, again, hyperfixation, we admit. And one of them came in this, so I finally got my Sonic the Hedgehog movie 3 Happy Meal box. The other 2 boxes came in the Grinch Christmas Happy Meal boxes, which I feel like they did on purpose to piss me off. And guess what I got? Got Knuckles. So...
Did you, actually? Did you still get another 2 Knuckles?
I am just collecting them. So, if anyone wants to DM me and doesn't have Knuckles and is going to be at MegaCon, do get in touch, because...
I think people should get their spares and duplicates and bring them at our table.
Yes.
And they can trade with other people and us their extras of the Sonic balls.
Do not bring Knuckles, please. We have him covered.
Only if you want to be a meme.
Yes. My current hyperfixation is specifically any Happy Meal Sonic toy that isn't Knuckles. And I will like feed that fixation one day. What about yourself?
It is the selfie frame. I'm obsessed with the selfie frame. It's all I can think about, alright? I have worked on that selfie frame every night for like 4 nights. between the last recording and this one, and all I can think about is how I'm going to just run around with my head in the frame and walk around in it. I'm obsessed with it. I don't know why. I'm so excited about this selfie frame.
I'm
I don't even
so
care about the prints that I ordered that I'm gonna sell.
I am so concerned that there's going to be people coming to our space and being like, "Oh, I heard about the selfie frame. Like, I would love you to use it," but Jill is running around. He's like,
Actually, plot twist. I bought two just in case that happens.
"Of course
There's
you did.
two
Of course
selfie
you did.
frames.
Of course you bought two."
There's two selfie frames. I'm also going to try and hula hoop with one because I'm not sure if you can, but I'll try.
I mean, I guess when we break that one, we have the other ones. So,
Exactly. That's why we have to, because I'm probably going to do something extremely reckless.
and then next year, when we look at the taxes and we think about spending two, we go, "Oh, right, lesson learned."
See this one. He's so ooh sometimes, but then pitchfork. I'm literally crying. That's so funny. But
So,
yeah, honestly, I never have seen one in person. Maybe I live under a rock. I've seen them online in pictures, and it was just something very interesting to design.
we're genuinely excited to see it. I
It
will
is. It's. I think it's going to be
very
good.
good.
It's going to be good. Watch this space
Watch this
because it's
space.
going to be in my home, like next week and the week after, and I'm going to be filming the podcast within the selfie frame. Be like,
Just
this
figure
is still
out.
my hyperfixation. I'm joking. I'm not that wild.
So that's our hyperfixations. What's your hyperfixations? I've been asking you guys on social media.
So let's read out a couple of these, shall we? We have Small and Stupid, who said Knuckles, but specifically Sonic Boom Knuckles.
You know what? That's a vibe. I appreciate that and respect that.
Isn't that Muscle Knuckles with the bandages and...
Yeah.
Oh, daddy, yes. 100%. 100%. Easily one of my top 5 Sonic designs out of all the designs.
Interesting. Okay. I respect it.
Yes, it's funny that my top 5 designs don't have a Sonic in the Sonic universe. But still, amazing. Knuckles, definitely, maybe 3rd place.
Okay.
LucasArt said Pokemon, the trading card game pocket version, which everyone is playing. Except
I think
for
that's a
you, but
common
everyone is
hyperfixation right now, isn't it?
everyone is playing it. I am playing it, and if you want to add me, feel free. Let's see. Still Skate the Infinity. I don't think it ever won't be. And this is from Reaper Fox. And I can say that I have no idea what Skate the Infinity is.
So I looked it up, and all I could tell was it's an anime. So my first port of call was to come to you and be like, "You know anime."
I will have to check it out because what even? How can I not know of the anime at all? I might not have watched it, but you know.
Maybe a new
Our
hyperfixation.
friend Tom, who is Striblob, is that how you pronounce
I
his name?
think it is. I've only ever called him Tom. So.
Yes, he said the Wicked soundtrack or Lego Trains.
And I know about that hyperfixation because he stayed around mine to watch the Sonic 3 movie when it came out. And there's a lot of Lego in this house. And the first thing he did when he left was, "I need to buy Lego now. I want Lego." So I'm sorry, Tom, that I inflicted that onto your life.
Perfect. Fuzzy's Art Designs said recently and probably far too late, they have gotten into D&D, which...
Never too late.
Never too late for D&D. Never too late. And mark my words, we will have a Convention Creatives D&D campaign running at some point.
You've heard
mark
it here.
My words. You heard it here. And I generally get stuff done when I want to. Serena Hyena, who is a good friend of mine, said tinned fish.
So I saw this one. And many questions. One, tuna, salmon, something else. And mackerel? I guess my general mackerel, that there are many
different
options.
Flavors of mackerel, like katsukari mackerel.
My main takeaway is I will allow it as a hyperfixation if it's not in brine. I can't be dealing with it in brine. That's gross. In spring water, you can have maybe oil, but because no.
How interesting.
Yeah.
Wine Forgotten Imp, the Forgotten Imp, whose work is
So
exquisite.
good.
Baldur's Gate 3 still, which honestly,
Honestly, vibe. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I still have to do a full playthrough. I have started that game so many times, like 6, 7 times, and I've never finished it once. We have Candy, Minecraft, and Steven Universe from Corpse X Bunnies.
I guess it says,
So
why
I
limit
butchered your name,
yourself
I'm
to
sorry.
one? Why limit yourself to one
Exactly.
hyperfixation, you know?
Steven Universe launching the figure of Steven and Lion through YouTube.
Yeah. You
That
almost
could have been a
cried.
hyper. I did, yeah. I did. I feel like that is going to be a purchase in my future.
I have a sneaking suspicion, yes.
Yeah, amazing. And lastly, Jay Eggmans was.
Wow, can't believe he said that. Crazy. What a wild thing to have as a
Offensive.
hyperfixation. Just
Offensive.
disgusting, really.
Offensive. Low-key
Getting
flattering.
cancelled for it.
Yeah. Yes.
So, thanks for sharing hyperfixations. I have a sneaking suspicion that we will be asking you that question again. So always keep an eye on our socials.
Like literally,
you never
almost
know
every
when we're
other
going to
week.
creep out. Yeah, literally, we'll be like, okay, tell us again. Is it the same? Has it changed? Is it still Baldur's Gate 3? Have we moved on to tin fruit now? Like, what's happening? You know,
Tinned pineapple though.
vibe.
So yummy, especially with like cottage cheese.
Okay, yeah, I support that.
Okay.
So now we've
All
had
right.
all the fun and jollities of our hyperfixations and your hyperfixations. It now comes to the deep, serious part of the show, the part where we go to the edge of a cliff and make a really tough decision. I don't know why it's always, why are we at a cliff? We're always at a cliff, but we're going to the edge of the cliff and we're going to make a tough decision. It's time.
It's cold on this cliff.
It's time for choose it or lose it. Now, my goodness, the reaction from last one after the horrendous things you said about Has Been Hotel. Shocking.
People are shocked.
Just ripples around the world. And I will say, I've never think I've seen you more. That was a genuine dilemma for you. You were like, I don't know what to think.
It was, yeah. It was. Because it was my children's.
Yeah.
You didn't even tell me to cancel a show. You told me to throw away my work.
But you picked one. You didn't go off the edge of the cliff, so...
No.
So, where do we find ourselves at the edge of the cliff today? Are you ready?
I am ready. Let's dive off.
Actually, there seems to be, for those of you listening and watching, you probably are already aware that we are a big, major complex at PB&J Studios, like massive operation going on. But there seems to be some sort of interference with our channel. I'm not sure what's going on. I need to look into this, I think. I don't know what this is.
Incoming transmission from PB&J signal.
What is that?
Hi, my name is Nandi, otherwise known as Squishy Kitty, which is spelled incorrectly, SQUISHI_KITTI on Instagram and everywhere else.
What?
Anyway, Jill, I have a question for you.
God.
You're on the cliff edge, and you have to choose between one of two snacks. I think you know what I'm going to say.
Oh my god, no.
Baby Bell or a pepperoni. You can't have both. You've got to choose one. But when's it going to be? Come on, Jill. Time's ticking.
I cannot believe we just got hacked then. Insane. What just happened? Absolute madness.
I think I'm shaking. That is so cool. That was wild. Nandi. I love Squishy Kitty. She's my twin sister.
I'm gonna guess, because she went to the effort of hacking into the PB&J transmission tower, that she really wants to do this segment this week. So, and I guess when it comes to conventions, snacks are important, and she seems to be the provider of the good snacks. So,
Yes.
so you're at the, as she said, she gets it. You're at a cliff.
Oh my god! I have to choose between it's my ADHD food. That is the food that my brain designated as like the comfort food, pepperami or Baby Bell. So just so you know, the reason why that's funny especially is because Nandi always has a stack of both, because it's both our hyperfixation food, and we always have a pepperami and a Baby Bell, and you take a bite of one, bite of another, and chew them both at the same time, because the mix is just, that's what hit the spot, right? So parting them is like is a crime. But if I had to choose, I think I would keep the Baby Bell because there's something about the softness of the texture of Baby Bell that just gives me emotional comfort. Not only is it tasty, but it's just it's just nice to bite into. I don't know. Pepperami, as a man approaching 40, sometimes give me heartburn. So yeah, it's very that.
I guess
But,
the decision
yeah.
was made quite quickly, I think. I was quite impressed with your decision making under stressful circumstances. It means that the pepperami, unfortunately, is off the edge of the cliff now. It's gone forever. Just gone. Gutted.
No!
I'm sorry.
Do you have a Baby Bell as well?
Luckily, you chose the option of the one thing I had. I was not prepared for the other option. I'm very happy it went the way it did.
This is the place to be.
So, now we have decided that it is Baby Bell for life. Sorry to all our Pepperami fans out there, especially me, because I've now got to find a Pepperami somewhere in that collection of stuff behind me. So that's going to be fun, because I just literally threw a Pepperami across my office, which I'm going to regret later, especially if the dog finds it before I do.
Yes.
While I do that, I think that's the perfect note to say thank you all for listening and watching episode 3 of the Convention Creators. We guys appreciate you guys so much. And if you listen to this and thought, that's alright, that's a bit of a laugh, there's some things we want you to do. No pressure if you can't do it, but you will do it, okay? If you're listening on Spotify, you're gonna leave a 5-star review, which I know you're gonna do. You've probably done it already because you're so good, but just in case, here's a reminder to do that. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, you need to go leave a 5-star review. Written reviews help us more than you can understand, so please do leave one. We can see all of them. We're everywhere in the world. We can see them, and we very much thank you for them.
We do. We talk about each message that we get. We get so excited.
Literally like, oh my goodness,
messaging each other. Oh my god, we just got one.
So please do that. And if you aren't following us already, you need to go find us. We are on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on Blue Sky as well. We're everywhere. And it's very simple to find us. We are at VCon Creatives. It's in the description of this episode. We are VCon Creatives, literally everywhere. So if you have a social media and you want to find us, we will be on it under that name. So do come find us. Say hello, because it's where we do fun things like show you what's going on in our world, give you updates on what's happening with the podcast, and we ask you guys questions. We love to interact with you so much. It means the world to us to see what you guys and our fellow creatives and conventioneers are up to. So do get in touch and follow us there. On that note, until next week, where we will be at MegaCon. I don't know how we're going to do this and be at MegaCon at the same time. Madness. Crazy. Until then, we will see you next week.
Yes. Bye.
I need to find a pepperami now. I'm so scared.
Bet.
Found it!
Can I have it? I'm really wanting a pepperoni.
You chose Baby Bell.
I don't always make the best choice, okay?
The grass is always greener.
Always.